students, now we are going to talk about improvement in food resources, and this is the very first lecture of our chapter. And in this chapter we are going to talk about what are the food resources and how can we improve, and what are the improvements happen in the food resources over the course of time. Now the very first topic that we are going to talk about is sources of food. Now how and what are the sources of food, we are going to discuss that. Now first of all, what is food? Food is the combination food is the combination of various organic and inorganic substances. A food is a combination of various organic and inorganic substances. It is a combination of various organic and inorganic substances which is capable of providing which is capable of providing the very first thing that it can provide is energy. The very first thing it can provide is energy for the various metabolic activities. For various metabolic activities. The next thing it can provide is materials for repair. A food can provide materials for repair, or we can say replacement of worn out tissues in the body. It can provide materials for repair and replacement of worn out tissues in our body. Of worn out tissues in our body. Now the third point, the food can provide materials for growth. It's for repair, and it can also provide materials for growth and reproduction. It can provide materials for growth and reproduction. And the next point is that it can provide regulatory substances. It can provide regulatory substances body secretions and metabolic activities in the body. Now the next topic that we are going to look at is agriculture. Now we have studied that what can food provide us. Now what is agriculture? The simple and the very basic, from where the agriculture word is defined. It is defined from agar. Agar means field. Agar means field, and culture means cultivation. And culture stands for cultivation. And culture stands for cultivation. Now, what do you mean by that is field cultivation? From agriculture, we mean that by that is field cultivation. Now, it is applied. The basic definition of agriculture is it is the applied biological. It is the applied biological science. It is applied biological science which deals with the production of plants. It deals because we are cultivating in field, so it deals with the production of plants, which deals with the production of plant, which deals with the production of plant and raising of animals also. It deals with cultivation, so it also includes raising of animals and raising of animals. It deals with two things. It deals with production and raising, uh, and also the animals, raising of animals that were useful to men. That are useful to men. It involves soil cultivation, involving involving soil cultivation. It involves soil cultivation, the cultivation of soil, breeding. It involves breeding also and management of crops and livestock. It also involves management of crops and and livestock. I hope this is clear to you that what is the basic definition of agriculture. It is the applied biological science that deals with the production of plants and raising of animals that were useful to men. It also involves soil cultivation, breeding, management of crops and livestock. Now the next topic that we are going to look at is horticulture. Now the very first topic is horticulture. So hortus means garden. The very first topic is horticulture, and hortus means it is derived from the term hortus, that means garden. So the cultivation in the garden is called as horticulture. So the definition is it is the branch of agriculture. Now these are the branches of agriculture also. It is the branch of agriculture. It is the branch of agriculture and the science of growing vegetables. And the science of growing vegetables. It deals with the science of growing vegetables, fruits, fruits and ornamental plants. And ornamental plants. So this all comes under Horticulture only. Ornamental plants. Now the second one is silviculture. Now what is silviculture? Silviculture, it is derived from the word sylvan. It is derived from the word sylvan that means wood and trees. It is meant by wood and trees, and it is the cultivation of wood and trees only. Silviculture means cultivation of wood and trees. Now the example are the cultivation of wood and trees. The examples are pine, the cultivation of pine, teak wood, sesame, etc. Now with this, the next topic that we are going to study about is classification of crop plants. Now we have studied that what are crop plants. Now how are they classified? Now at one side we are going to write the type of crop, and the other side we are going to write the examples. Now the very first are cereals. The very first one are cereals. Cereals involve wheat, rice, maize, minor millets, etc. Now the next type of crops are pulses. Now pulses involve gram. We also called it as chana in Hindi. Pea, we call it as pea or peas. It is called in Hindi as matar. Black gram, next is lentil. It is also a type of pulse only, etc. Now the third is oil seed crops. The third is oil seed crops. It involves soybean, groundnut, it involves the examples are soybean, groundnut, sunflower, sesame, mustard, etc. Now, the fourth one are root crops. The fourth are root crops, and the examples of root crops are turnip, carrot, turmeric. They are called root crops because they are origin from the roots. Sweet potato, and and ginger. Now the next one are sugar crops. The next are sugar crops, and it involves sugar cane and beet. It involves sugar cane and beet. And the last are fiber crops. and it involves jute because they are made up of fibers and cotton. That's why they are called as fiber crops. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is crop seasons. Now, what are crop seasons? We all know that every crop doesn't grow in same season. So, there are different types of crops. Different types of crops require different climatic conditions. Different types of crop require different climatic conditions. Different types of crops require different climatic conditions. Like the very first one is temperature. It do require that what is the temperature there. The second one is photo period. Now what do we mean by photo period? It is the photo period. Photo means sunlight and period. So it is the duration of light or duration of sunlight. Duration of sunlight. If the photo period is less, then the crop production will also be affected. And the third one is completion of life cycle. The third one is completion of life cycle. That means the crop should be given the adequate amount of time to complete their life cycle. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is types of crops. Now, on the basis of growing season, on the basis of their growing season, the types of crops, the crops are divided into two types. The very first one are kharif, that is means by rainy season, the crops that grow in rainy season, and the second are rabi that grows in winter season. Now, we are going to differentiate between the types of crops. The very first and basic differentiation in both is that in kharif crops are grown during monsoon, are grown during monsoon, or we can also call it as rainy season. The next is in rabi crops, they are grown during winter season. They are grown during winter season. Now the second differentiation is that in kharif crop they require warm and wet weather because they are grown in monsoon season, so they require warm and wet weather. They require warm and wet weather, and in rabi crops they require cold and dry weather. They require, because they are grown in winter season, so they require cold and dry weather. The next differentiation is that kharif crops are grown or are sown during June or July. They are sown in June, July time and harvested in September, October. And harvested in September, October. And in rabi crops, they are grown during, or they are sown in October, November. When the kharif crops are harvested, they are grown just after that. They are grown during October, November, and are harvested in March, April. And harvested in March, April. Now the examples of kharif crops are rice, jowar, bajra, etc. And the examples of rabi crops are wheat, maize, gram, etc. Now, with this, the next topic that we are going to look at is improvement in crop yield. Now, what is the reason? What is the need that we have to do improvement in the crop yield, so that more crop production will be there and the effective crop production will be there. Now, to obtain the high yields, to obtain high yields from our farms, from our farms, to obtain the high yields from our farms, the following three scientific approaches, the following three scientific approaches the following three scientific approaches are adopted. Are adopted. The very first is that we can do the varietal. The very first is that we can do the varietal improvement of crop. We can improve the variety, so we can do the varietal improvement of crop through genetic manipulation. We can improve the variety of the crop through genetic manipulation. We can manipulate the genes. So through genetic manipulation, we can improve the variety of the crop through genetic manipulation, that we can improve the variety of the genes and we can manipulate the genes. Now the second is crop production management. The second is crop production management. And the third one is crop protection. The third one is crop protection management. We are going to focus on production as well as protection. So crop protection management. Now, the next topic that we are going to look at is what is genetic manipulation and how can we do the genetic manipulation. Now, We have been striving hard for increase the crop production or the food production for last 50 years, and we have been successful to attain these goals to a certain event. And the very first point in the genetic manipulation is that agricultural scientists have now realized have now realized that the further increase the scientists have realized that the further increase in food production can be accomplished in food production can be accomplished it can be accomplished only through the use of improved varieties of crops, only through the use of improved variety of crops, improved variety of crops. The crop production can be increased only through the use of improved variety of crops. And the second point in the genetic manipulation is that the principal aim of varietal improvement, the aim or the principal aim, the principal aim of varietal movement varietal improvement is to get as many of desirable and economic characters, is to get as many of desirable and economic characters that the that the crops should be desirable and economic characters in possible in one variety. That means possible in one variety. That means the maximum we could obtain from a crop is that it should be desirable and it should be economic in nature. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is that what are the aims of crop improvement? Why do we need to do and what is the main aims of crop improvement? The very first aim of a crop improvement is developing high yielding varieties. Developing high yielding varieties. They develop high yielding varieties. The second is improved quality. Improved quality. The third aim is that it should be early and uniform maturity. There should be early and uniform maturity. The crop should be mature uniformly. So uniform maturity. The fourth one is that insensitivity to light and temperature. The crop should have insensitivity, that there should not be sensitive. There should be insensitivity to light and temperature. So there should it should become easy to store them to light and temperature. The fifth aim is that it should be if they are insensitive to light and temperature, there should be widely adaptable. So there should be wider adaptability. There should be wider adaptability. The sixth one is that lodging resistant varieties. There should be lodging resistant varieties. We are going to study what is lodging resistant. There should be lodging resistant varieties, and there should be desirable agronomic characters. Desirable agronomic characters. Also, the eighth point is that varieties resistance to the varieties should be resistant. Varieties should be resistant resistant to biotic and abiotic stresses. To biotic and abiotic stresses. They should be resistant to biotic and abiotic stresses. Now, the next point that we are going to study about is what is lodging resistance. We have studied the aim that of crop improvement is to lodging resistance. Now, the lodging resistance refers to it refers to the capability of plants. It is the capability of plants. It refers to the capability of plants to resist lodging, to resist lodging by optimal root system. The water should be resisted by optimal root system. The capability of plants to resist lodging by optimal root system or other characteristics. Or other characteristics. Now we are going to discuss some other points also, that what is biotic stresses. What is biotic stresses and why should crops be free from biotic stresses? So the biotic stresses are these are such as diseases. These are the diseases, insect pests, nematodes. They also cause diseases in the plants and they should be resistant to that. And the second one is abiotic stresses. Abiotic stresses, these can be defined as such as drought, all the natural calamities such as drought, salinity. The other is salinity, that whether is the water is saline or not, water logging, frost, etc. Now, with this, we are going to end the lecture here only, and thank you everyone.